Welcome to Silent Seniors No More. As we celebrate Independence Day, we often think about fireworks, parades, and backyard gatherings. But 250 years ago, the men and women who built this nation were focused on something much deeper. They were asking a simple question: what happens when people believe their voices are no longer being heard? In 1776, a group of ordinary citizens put their names on a document that challenged the most powerful government on earth. They believed that rights were not gifts from those in power. They believed that rights belonged to the people. Today, the challenges we face may be different, but the principles remain the same. Every generation must decide whether liberty, fairness, accountability, and equal treatment still matter. For many residents living in Florida mobile home communities, these questions are not historical. They are current. They are personal. They affect the lives of thousands of seniors throughout our state. Today, in the spirit of Independence Day, I would like to share a document inspired by the principles that shaped our nation. It's called The Constitution of the Florida Mobile Home Residents' Rights Movement. I invite you to listen not as a resident of one community, but as a citizen who believes that fairness, dignity, and accountability shall belong to everyone. The preamble. We, the residents of the Florida's mobile home communities, in order to establish fairness, ensure equal treatment, promote domestic tranquility within our communities, protect the dignity and security of our senior citizens and homeowners, provide meaningful enforcement of rights guaranteed under Chapter 723, preserve access to community amenities funded through our lot rent, and secure the blessings of liberty, safety, and peaceful enjoyment for ourselves and future residents. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the protection of mobile home residents. The rights of residents. Equal treatment. All residents shall be entitled to equal enforcement of rules, regulations, policies, inspections, and disciplinary actions without favoritism, retaliation, intimidation, or selective application. Freedom from retaliation. No resident shall suffer retaliation, harassment, threats, loss of privileges, public humiliation, or intimidation for organizing residents, attending meetings, filing complaints, speaking publicly, assisting fellow residents, participating in homeowners association, communicating with government officials, or exercising rights protected under Chapter 723. Peaceful enjoyment. Every resident shall retain the right to peaceful enjoyment of their home, lot, community facilities, and common areas without unreasonable interference. Access to amenities. Amenities, recreation facilities, and community places funded through the lot rent or required by the prospectus shall remain accessible to residents without unnecessary restrictions, access fees, or disciplinary barriers. Transparency. Residents shall have the right to clear written rules, written notice of violation, transparent policies, proper communication of rule changes, and equal access to information affecting the community. Due process. No resident shall be subjected to illegal penalties, suspensions, bans, fines, or enforcement action without written notice, explanation of alleged violations, opportunity to respond, and consistent application of community rules. Duties of community management. Responsibility of the management. Community owners and management shall maintain communities in good faith and in accordance with Florida Statute Chapter 723, the community perspectives, applicable health and safety standards, and principles of fairness and dignity, recreation and community life. Management shall support recreation and community activities intended to foster participation, unity, wellness, and social interaction amongst all residents. Accountability. Management shall not enforce or attempt to enforce unwritten laws, rules, arbitrary standards, selective restrictions, or policies inconsistent with published rules, historical practices, or applicable law. Respect for seniors. Residents, particularly elderly and disabled residents, shall be treated with dignity, patience, fairness, and respect. Governmental responsibility. Enforcement. The state of Florida shall provide meaningful oversight and enforcement of protections guaranteed under Chapter 723. Protection of vulnerable residents. No resident shall be left without reasonable remedy when allegedly retaliation, intimidation, unequal treatment, or abuse of authority. Accessibility of justice. Residents shall have clearly defined and reasonable access to complaint procedure, investigation, mediation, and the courts without fear of retaliation or financial destruction. Community principles. Neighbors helping neighbors. Communities shall encourage volunteerism, compassion, cooperation, and mutual support among their residents. Civic participation. Residents shall remain the right to organize peacefully for the betterment of their community. Preservation of community spirit. No policy or enforcement practice shall unnecessarily diminish or destroy the social, recreational, or communal character of a neighborhood. Declaration of accountability. We declare that the rights without enforcement are protections in name only, that senior citizens shall not be silenced through fear, that community living must balance order with humanity, that homeowners deserve fairness equal to the obligations imposed upon them, and that dignity, transparency, and equal treatment are not privileges, but fundamental rights, expectations of civilized community living. Call to action. Therefore, we call upon the Florida Legislature, the Florida Attorney General, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, community owners, public officials, advocacy organizations, and residents throughout the state of Florida to uphold these principles and ensure that protections promised under Chapter 723 become meaningful realities. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence were never simply pieces of paper. They were promises, promises that people mattered, promises that government would answer to the governed, promises that liberty required courage. The men and the women who signed these documents were not guaranteed success. They simply believed that remaining silent was no longer an option. As we celebrate this 4th of July, may we remember that citizenship is not a spectator sport. It requires participation. It requires courage. And sometimes it requires ordinary people asking very difficult questions. Whether you agree with every word of this documentation or not, I hope it encourages you to learn, to engage, and to stand up for what you believe is right. Because communities become stronger when people care enough to participate, and democracy becomes stronger when people refuse to be silent. I'm Jaime Ciarla, From all of us at Silent Seniors No More, thank you for listening. Have a safe, happy, and meaningful 4th of July. God bless our veterans, God bless our seniors, and God bless the United States of America.